Thanks for watching Afternoon Live. Landscape photography is beautiful, but our next guest doesn't settle for ordinary. He takes his photos to a level you have to see to believe. Here to share pictures from his new book, Somewhere in Another Place, we welcome photographer Mike Voss. Thank you for joining us and bringing us some of your beautiful creations to share.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Tell me a little bit about putting this book together. It took several years, I understand.
Yeah, it was about 4 years of work, and there was a lot of amazing organizations that helped me along the way. I went and did artist residencies all over the U.S. I got funding from some local grant programs here in Portland, like the Regional Arts and Culture Council and the Oregon Arts Commission. So it was a lot of work, but it was a bit of a joint effort. I had a lot of support along the way, but I got to travel all over the U.S. making it. So
that is so cool.
Yeah.
Lots of love, lots of labor too, but you see lots of reflections across the country. Tell me about the image that we just saw there, that waterfall. Was that over a window of some sort?
Yeah, so that's up in Washington. That's Snoqualmie Falls.
Okay.
Some folks might recognize it from the TV show Twin Peaks.
Yeah, there it is.
Yeah, so it is a waterfall within the windowsill, and a lot of my ideas for my photographs come from literature. So sometimes I'll read a section of a book and think how that might look as an image, and so sometimes I'll go out with a concept and just try to execute that as a photograph. So.
That's so cool. And then other times you just kind of find things
sometimes
in the wild.
Just a gut feeling. Sometimes this feels right, this place feels right, I'll photograph it and I'll move on to the next place.
Tell me about how you found this style of kind of transposing those images. I mean, they come together so beautifully, but it takes a lot of effort to make that happen.
It does, yeah. So I shoot with this 4x5 camera here, which is a large format film camera, and it shoots sheet film, and everything is in the camera. There's no digital alteration later, no Photoshop, nothing like that. I take both exposures in the camera at the same time. And the reason I started doing that is because when I started photographing the landscape, I wanted to, share these specific ideas I had and share the story that I had, but people weren't necessarily picking up on the connection I was trying to facilitate there with nature. So I started to explore different ways to do that and different ways to communicate these ideas, and I just sort of landed on what's the relationship between the human landscape and the natural landscape, and what's that conversation like. So
well, it's so cool looking at a few more examples here. It kind of takes you a minute. You think you're looking at one thing, and then your brain starts to fire a little bit more, and you can see, wait a minute, there's actually a couple of things happening here.
Yeah, that's the intention for me. I want to make something that looks interesting, it's captivating, and it's intriguing, but I also want to make something that has a bit more. So when you're going home and you're thinking more about it, you start to think about, well, what does that photo mean to me? Like, what did I take away from that image? And that's really important for me, that there's a message and a story that I'm trying to share with my work.
And you're from Portland originally.
I am.
There's lots of images from all over the place in this book. Will we see a little bit more Pacific Northwest represented?
There will be at the show, at the exhibition tonight at Powell's. And funny enough, because I've lived in Oregon for most of my life, I don't always feel so compelled to go out and photograph in nature, because I just like to go out and enjoy it and walk around. But when I'm traveling for these artist residencies with museums and things like that, it's an opportunity to photograph places that are unique or strange or beautiful, captivating.
Yeah, can you hold up a couple of these really cool prints that you've brought here so we can see? These are just so beautiful.
So these are test prints just from my studio.
Okay.
This one's up in Washington. It's an old abandoned power plant. It was actually never finished, so there was never any nuclear material there.
Wow.
And I thought a lot about this idea that some things are too big to fail that humans might make, but obviously this didn't work well, and this failed, this project, but it's still there and it's still interesting to see. And I wanted to overlay it with nature, because to me nature is eternal, nature is forever, and nature cannot fail. So organic life will thrive and bounce back.
That's a really cool comment on that whole thing. And then show me this one too, where we can see some flames happening. This is so interesting.
So the inside of this here is actually Carlsbad Caverns out in New Mexico.
Okay.
And then the outside is a house in northern Texas. And strangely enough, this was taken during a pretty extreme weather event. There was a tornado that had formed, and I actually spent the night in the shelter after I photographed this, which was pretty incredible. But yeah, I wanted to take an image that, to me, the outside of the house maybe looks a little bit a certain way, but then the inside, there's something going on, and you want to inspect it and see what's internally happening in these places.
Really fascinating. Thank you so much for stopping by and sharing with us. I'm so excited for your book.
Thank you. Yeah, I brought you a copy. It's
oh
right
my
here.
gosh, thank you.
Yeah.
Oh, I can't wait. Okay, Mike's book is Somewhere in Another Place. He has a book signing event tonight in just a few hours at 6:30 at Powell's Books on West Burnside. We'll have more information on our website at KATU.com. We'll be right back with more Afternoon Live right after this.